Hello, everyone, and welcome in. Today is Sunday, July 23rd, and we'll be doing your single card pull to see what messages the universe and spirit have in store for you today. In terms of big things going on, I know there's been a lot of heavy energy with the North Node shifting into Aries and South Node shifting into Libra. And then we also had our Venus in retrograde that happened yesterday, and today Chiron moves into retrograde in Aries. So Chiron has to deal with old wounds and healing, so it's going to be in retrograde for the most of the rest of this year. So it's really about looking at some of those old wounds and what still needs to be healed in order for you to move forward. So let's use that as kind of the basis for today. We will be starting in our air signs. So let's see, Spirit, what messages are trying to come through for our air signs. The Death card. So remember, this is air signs are Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So the Death card is coming through. And a lot of times the Death card is kind of seen as one of those scary cards, but really and truly it's about ending to certain cycles. And sometimes those transformations and ends of those cycles, you may at first think that it's bad luck, that something bad is happening and something's happening to you. But remember, frame it in the context of something is happening for you. This life is all about learning lessons and growing. And so if something is falling away or you're taking something out of your life that no longer serves you, you're making room to grow. Kind of the analogy I had heard before is if you think of like a deer, and they have these big antlers, and at the end of every season they shed them so that the next year they can grow back bigger. So let's see what message is coming through for Gaia. On the Gaia card, the message: positive news, positive outcome. And again, this pairs really nicely with the Death card, that even though something is maybe ending, transformations, closing out of an old chapter or an old cycle, there's new positive beginnings, positive outcomes that are coming through. It could be a situation where maybe you've known that something needs to change, and you've kind of been hesitant to do anything about it, but especially with the North Node shift, and that's really pushing you to stand in your truth, be unapologetically you. And it could be that energy has been building within you, and it's leading to this sense of, you know what, I'm done. I'm not going to continue in cycles that are hurting me, that are keeping me small. They're keeping me from living my truest self. Your Moon card is you're very close to achieving your goal. So that's that positive news, positive outcome. And it really has, it seems like with this North Node, South Node shifting, that it's really encouraging you to be bold, take risks. Don't apologize for wanting to live your life in the way that feels right to you. So let's see your light worker card. The Great Gathering. It's all coming together. Intuitive hits, Soul Tribe. And as you start to stand in your truth more and more and really embrace that, you will start to draw in other people that are at your vibrational level. So, like vibration is attracting like vibration. So if you're sitting there in that kind of pit of despair and, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? You're probably going to draw in that sort of energy. If you're expecting positive news, expecting positive outcomes, and really focusing on things like that, for one, you're closer to achieving your goal maybe than you think, but you're also pulling in your tribe. So that's really a great message, that even though some things might be closing out, a lot of other things are starting to line up for you, air signs. So that is what Sunday has in store for you. let's take a look on our next one, our fire signs. So our Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. What message is coming through for you for today? The Star. And the Star is all about kind of the blessings from the divine. It's that good news. It's that positive news. It's that, I'll call it faith and optimism, and that things will be getting better or turning around, or that you're close to getting all these things that you've been trying to manifest. So positive message there. We have a jumper card, healing, reconnecting with your true nature. And since that was a jumper card, I like to pull a regular card as well. And so with the Star, since that's a lot of times it's about blessing and balance and joy, that goes along really well with this healing card. As you heal, you'll start to uncover more of those feelings of joy. The Temptress is the card that I pulled. Seduction, deceit, a broken promise. So if we're tying that with the healing card, could be a situation where you are needing to heal from that having happened to you, where you've been on the receiving end of broken promises or deceit, or it could be maybe a warning that, the broken promises, deceit, seduction, all of that, if that's what you're finding yourself doing, that you need to work on your healing in order to break that cycle within you so that you can be honest and stand in whatever your truth is. So let's take a look at your moon card. Don't let your past hold you back. And it says South Node. Sometimes people fall into patterns. And like I said, with that Temptress card, whether you're on the receiving end of that or whether you're on the giving end of that, deceit and broken promises, a lot of times that's going to be tied to some sort of something that happened in your past. Maybe you felt like you weren't good enough, and so you had to lie about things to inflate what you thought your value was. Or maybe you stayed in situations where people were treating you like that because you felt like you deserved it. So usually that's a matter of, there's a couple, so I'll keep shuffling. Usually it's a matter of there's some wounding that needs to be healed. And this Chiron in retrograde will really bring some of that out for you. Answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? I feel like this card has come up quite a bit in the last couple weeks, which is appropriate when North Node shifts, because it kind of brings in new energy into that sense of your North Node, which that's what is your spiritual path? Like, what lessons are you supposed to learn? What are you supposed to be achieving in this lifetime? So this answer the call, what is your soul calling you to do? That's really, what is your purpose? And some of that can't necessarily be acknowledged or fulfilled if you're in a really ground in 3D state. You really need to work on some of that healing and ascension type of energy in order to be able to understand what your calling is and be able to embrace it. So don't let your past hold you back. Maybe you're not standing in your, I'll call it your true passion right now, because you feel like you're shackled to the past, whether that's emotionally, whether that's actually literally in your physical space, that you're still doing something, you're behaving some way, you're in a situation, whether it's a job, a relationship, a family dynamic, because that's what you've always done. And we had an expression at work, that the worst answer you can give when somebody says, well, why do you do things this way? Because we've always done it that way. Like that was a terrible answer to give, because, staying doing the same thing just because it's what you're comfortable with is not the right reason to stay doing something. You should stay doing something because it feels right in your soul. It feels, good and positive and happy in your soul, not because, I guess that's what I did yesterday. So, all right. Next one's onto our earth signs. That's going to be our Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. your card for the day is also the Star. So, again, that's about that joy, that optimism, the divine pouring blessings down on you. And let's see what your Gaia card is. Lost love, surrender, healing, release. So in this card, she's just laying there, kind of has a little bit of a sad look about her. But that's something with that lost love, whatever that is, whether that's a specific person, whether that's a passion in your life, or however that resonates with you. That with that lost love and surrendering and healing, that, you know, the whole idea of you can't keep grasping onto something, you know, when it's time for that situation to be over, that lesson to be learned, you know, thank it for its contribution to your life and move on. I was listening to a Jay Shetty podcast that was really great, and it was something to do with, I mean, this was years ago that I heard it, something to do with things you should ask yourself about your relationship if you're thinking about ending it or leaving it or trying to evaluate it. And one of the things is, like, after you've either decided that your relationship should end, or maybe it's after it's already ended, to sit back and think about, you know, it's easy sometimes at the beginning to think about, oh, you know, and this and this, and, you know, this is why it was bad. But also think about, what have you learned? How have you grown through that relationship? And kind of acknowledging that, because this lifetime is all about growth. Your moon card is have faith in your dreams. Actually, this is the first time I've ever seen this card come out, actually. And that's something that, you know, if this lost love was a hobby or a job or a life path, if that has always been your dream, maybe you need to try chasing after this. But since this is talking about surrender, healing, and release, you know, it could be that your dream is pulling you in one direction, and there's a person that needs to be released in order for you to be able to follow that dream. So, all right, let's take a look at this card for you. Starseed, what lights you up? So actually, these two together are great cards. About have faith in your dreams and what lights you up. So this whole sense of optimism, it's kind of along the lines of, you know, okay, something maybe has to go, but have faith in the divine, that the blessings are being poured out, and, you know, have faith in your dreams. Follow what lights you up, and that's how you're going to feel like you're making an impact, is being on your path, doing what really lights you up. So last but not least, we have our water signs, our Capricorn, Scorpio, Pisces. Let's see what message is coming through for you for today. Judgment. So judgment, this is kind of that awakening, rebirth. And this is card number 20 in the Major Arcana. So it's kind of like you've slugged it out, working it through whatever lesson, situation, and now it's time to let divine judgment come in. And, you know, usually it has to do with being judged favorably, but just letting that divine judgment kind of come in. Gaia card, thinking of you, a loving thought, serendipity. So I would suggest that someone out there is thinking about you, wanting to connect with you. Let's see, what is your moon card? A new romantic cycle begins. So someone is thinking about you and wanting to start a new romance with you. And remember this, take only what resonates in this reading. So if that's your situation, maybe you're single, or maybe, maybe this judgment is that you're getting out of a relationship, feeling like, it's kind of run its course, it's time for judgment. It's time to really, discern whether that's the relationship you want to be in. This is kind of that reminder, that idea that, hey, there is somebody out there that's thinking about you, that wants to start a cycle, a romantic cycle with you. And your light worker card, boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? So that's a good reminder, especially if you're looking at starting a new relationship, is to kind of go back and see with your previous ones, where do you feel like maybe you didn't set strong enough boundaries, and maybe these two are being tied together, that you're in the process of going through this judgment phase about, is this relationship really working? Maybe you need to set some new boundaries. Maybe if you're in a situation where you're struggling in your relationship, this new romantic cycle could either be a new person coming in, or it could be just a new phase in your relationship, a new development. Maybe you're setting better boundaries, and that's going to create a new cycle for you within your existing relationship. So take only what resonates, and leave the rest. So I hope today's reading has been helpful for you. And until tomorrow, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Bye-bye.